Hey you! You clicked on this video because you resonate with the word light worker, and yes, you are a light worker. But did you know that there are many different types of light workers, and each type has its own mission and purpose on the planet? In this video, you'll learn what a light worker actually is, then we're going to go over the top 7 types of light workers and what each one of them does, and then why you need to know which type of light worker you fall into and what to do with that information. Coming up. Hello, beautiful soul. That intro that you just saw is for my upcoming YouTube live event happening on October 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The event is called the 2021 Energy Upgrade for Lightworkers, and I am super excited about it. In this live event, you're going to learn what the current energies on the planet are right now, how lightworkers are being activated in these new energies and why. Then we're going to learn how to work with this energy instead of against it. And then we're going to have a live Q&A where I'm going to be answering your questions. Then we're going to move into the extremely fun part of this event, which is we're going to have a sound healing session with our beautiful musician Nuno Pereira, and I'm going to finish off with a guided activation, live activation that's specifically designed for lightworkers to help you with this new energy on the planet. This is going to be a super powerful event, and I hope to see you there. If you're interested in registering for this live event, click on the link below in the description where you can register and download your free workbook in preparation for this live event. And I hope to see you on October 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On to part 1 of the video, what's a light worker? Okay, so here's a really simple definition of what a light worker is. A light worker is a soul that has incarnated with a service mission to the planet. Okay, so this means that a light worker is a soul that really has come down here and agreed to help in some way, help humanity, help nature, help the planet, help animals. So the light worker has imbued within them this beautiful mission of service to the planet and to humanity. All right. Now, I wanted to clear something up though about light workers. It's a technicality that's really important so that light workers don't get lost in the mission of the light worker. Because a lot of times when I say that a light worker is a soul that's come down here with a service mission to the planet, sometimes light workers can get really confused and they think that that service mission is only if they're doing something on the outside, okay? And that's definitely not the case. It's not always the case, all right? And when we get into some of the types of light workers, you'll understand that some light workers are more programmed to do things on the outside and other light workers are more programmed to do things on the inside. Okay, so I wanted to clear this up just to keep this clear that a light worker is here for a service mission and to help, but sometimes that helping doesn't involve doing things on the outside. Sometimes the helping is an inside job, all right? So wanted to clear that up before we move on to the 7 types of light workers. On to part 2 of the video, the 7 types of light workers, okay? So this list isn't exhaustive. So there are many types of light workers, but the 7 that I'm presenting here are the ones that I've come across the most in myself and in the work that I've done with thousands of clients. So I'm going to present the 7 that I'm most exposed to, but it doesn't mean that this is an exhaustive list that includes everyone, all right? And I wanted to leave a little side note here also on the types of light workers, okay? So ding, big side note for you. And the side note is that think of these light worker types, instead of thinking of them as just one type where you can only fit into one category or one bucket, think of the types of light workers more as roles, okay? So these are more, instead of looking at them as just solid or rigid types that you only fall into one of them, think of them as roles that sometimes you can pivot from one role to another, meaning that you can find yourself being in a different role of a light worker in different phases of your life, okay? So I wanted to leave this side note here just so you don't think that you're only one type of light worker and that's the only thing you can be your whole life, all right? So let's clear that up, and now let's move on to the top 7 types of light workers that I've come into contact most with. The first type of light workers are called light keepers. Okay, so these light keepers are light workers that are just templated to hold the light no matter where they are. Okay, now light keepers sometimes they choose to incarnate in really difficult outside circumstances, but it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. A light keeper is very, very good at holding the light. They do not let their light diminish no matter what the outer circumstances are. Okay, and an example, a living example that I love to give of this is of the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, one of my favorite teachers. So he is the quintessential light keeper. He was very active, especially years ago during the Vietnam War. Thich Nhat Hanh was really, really active in trying to bring an end to the war and trying to bring peace to the situation. And he worked alongside Martin Luther King during those years of the Vietnam War. He was very, very active. This is a great example. Thich Nhat Hanh is a great example of what light keepers do. They hold the light, and he held his vibration along with Martin Luther King. They held their vibration even when the Vietnam War was this huge mess and so many people were dying and, all of this chaos was happening. All right. So this is a good example of what a light keeper is. Light keepers will hold their light no matter what is happening on the outside environment. The second type of light workers are the healers. So healers are light workers that are prepared in some way to help humanity, animals, the planet, nature. They are prepared to help any of these parts of the planet or of humanity heal from something, okay? So they are specifically here to help others or the planet heal from pain, some kind of pain or suffering, all right? So healers are equipped with huge hearts, very, very compassionate toward others. Usually within this category of light workers, there's a lot of empaths and what's known as HSPs, or highly sensitive people. So the majority of healers are either empaths or are HSPs because that helps them connect more and be more compassionate and empathic towards others. The more they're able to connect to the pain and suffering in others, the more they can help them heal from that pain and suffering. All right. So this is the second category. Healers are crucial also in the healing and the change in vibration on the planet. Now to the third type of light workers, they're called gatekeepers or grid workers. I put them all in these two in the same category, even though they have tiny little differences. They're very similar in their mission. And what these light workers do is they have a pull to work with specific energy points on the planet. All right, so the planet has very, very different energy points. When it comes to these different energy points, that's where the gatekeepers and the grid workers come in. All right, so the gatekeepers, they are specifically here to work with energy portals on the planet. Okay, so energy portals are specific places on the planet where the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world is very, very thin, and there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of concentration of energy coming through that specific area or that specific portal, all right? It's called an energy portal. And gatekeepers are pulled towards these specific energy portals to do work that they sometimes don't even know, okay? So I'll give you a couple of examples of these kinds of energy portals. One, for example, would be Stonehenge in England. Another one could be Mount Shasta in California. So there are many, many energy portals on the planet, but these are just a couple of examples of these portals where these gatekeeper light workers are called to go work with. All right. Now, grid workers is a little bit different. So grid workers are light workers that are prepared also to work with energy points, but the energy points are a little bit different than a portal. So what grid workers do is they work with the specific energy grid of the planet. All right. So you can think of the energy grid kind of like the aura of the planet. The planet has an aura like we have an aura around our bodies. And this energy grid is constantly changing and it's constantly evolving. And grid workers are called to specific geographic locations to help change the grid or upgrade the grid. This is a conjunct mission that they have with the planet. grid workers and gatekeepers, both of them, they will feel very, very strong intuitive pulls sometimes to certain geographic locations on the planet. And it's really interesting because sometimes grid workers and gatekeepers take a while to understand what they're doing, and sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. So sometimes they'll feel called to go meditate at Mount Shasta or go meditate in a specific portal or a specific place on the planet, and they're just called to meditate. And they may not mentally know what they're doing, but just the presence of their energy at that specific portal or at that specific location helps the energy change and upgrade. The fourth type of light workers are what's known as transmuters. So these are light workers that have a really, really powerful energy system, and they are specifically designed to transmute or transform denser energy into light. Okay, so a lot of times this type of light worker, transmuter light workers, they will literally sometimes choose difficult family circumstances or difficult ancestral lines, and they'll incarnate in those ancestral lines so that they can then help the ancestry transform that darkness and that density into more light. Okay, so transmuters are really interesting. They have powerful energy systems, and they will purposefully choose to incarnate or enmesh themselves in a very sometimes dense and difficult energies because they know that they have the capacity to transform those energies across ancestral lines, across the energy grid of the planet. They know they can do that work because of their powerful energy systems. The fifth type of light worker, these are called messengers. So these are light workers that are very, very sensitive, usually very sensitive third eyes, they're very sensitive crown chakras, very sensitive heart chakras, because they specialize in retrieving information from the spirit realms. They're very, very good at listening, but when I say listening, I'm using air quotes because it's not necessarily with the ears. They're just good at tuning in to the spiritual messages coming from the other side and then translating those messages into words for everyone else to understand on this side. Okay, so messengers kind of bridge the spirit world and the messages of the spirit world, and they bring them into physical form. So they could be teachers, they could be on TV, they could be on YouTube. They're doing different things to bring spiritual messages into everyday life. So messengers, usually they use words, but it doesn't always have to be through words. It could be through paintings, photography. These types of messenger light workers, they can work in different mediums, but the point is they're always bringing messages from the spirit realm into the physical reality for others to learn and to integrate in their bodies and in their systems. The sixth type of light worker is what's known as way showers. Okay, so way showers are a really cool type of light workers. Their primary mission is to become the living example of the change that they want to see on the planet. Okay, so way showers first and foremost are interested in their own inner transformation, and as they transform and as they walk their path in life, they become the living example that other people look to and say, wow, that's awesome, I want to do that too. Okay, so the way shower may not be a messenger, so they may not be really interested in talking about their transformation. They may not be really interested in doing all kinds of different things. They are most interested in their own personal development and their own transition as a way to show others how to do this themselves. All right, this is a really cool. There are a lot of way showers that are in roles that you wouldn't even think they were light workers, because a lot of times way showers immerse themselves and they have regular jobs. They just have regular lives, but they're such powerful light workers that serve as examples for others to follow. The seventh type of light worker is what's called as blueprint holders. Okay, they are called blueprint holders. These types of light workers, these are light workers that come programmed with a specific blueprint or a specific template that they then bring down into the earth and they disseminate into the earth. So they actually change the blueprint of the planet because they come programmed with new templates. So you can think of them like computers that have specific programs installed in them, and they just come down to earth and they change the programming of the planet through their own templates. Okay, these are called blueprint holders. Now, I'll give you an example of a specific type of blueprint holder. There are many different subcategories of blueprint holders, but here's a really common one. And it's the blueprint holders that have to do with relationships. So if you've heard of the term twin flame, for example. So a twin flame is someone who has a mission, who is holding a template of sacred partnership or sacred relationship, okay? And so twin flames, they are template holders for a new type of connection, a new type of romantic relationship, a new type of sacred partnership. They come imbued with that template. And then when they get down here and they, get into these sacred relationships with other partners, or even if they're not in sacred relationship, they're still holders of the template. When they come down to earth, they then start anchoring that new template into the planet, and others start to see and they start to be exposed to the possibility that relationships can be more than what we've been used to down here on earth, okay? But this is just one example of blueprint holders. But you can see what they do. They literally come down to ground the new templates that they come imbued with. On to part 3 of the video, why you need to know. So why is it important to know which type of light worker you fall into, what category you fall into? Or, as I said in the beginning of the video, if you consider these light working types more as roles, why is it important for you to know whether you are in this role of light working, or maybe you're transitioning and maybe you have a couple of missions in your own self? Maybe you come prepared to be more than one type of light worker in different phases of your life. Why is this so important to know? The main reason is that when you're able to understand what type of light worker you are, you learn to accept yourself more fully. Oh my God, it really is about acceptance. And I'll give you an example, a really concrete example of where this acceptance comes in and how it's so crucial to kind of help ground you and help you come into a place of more self-confidence and certainty. So I talked about the grid workers and gatekeepers. That's an interesting type of light worker. Well, I can't tell you how many clients I have had over the years who come to me, they're gatekeepers or grid workers, but they don't know it. And then they come to me and they're all kinds of, they're just a hot mess. And they're a hot mess because they have this strong intuition to travel. Many of them say they want to rent RVs or rent a van and just leave their house behind, and they want to go drive across country because they want to go to a specific location and they don't know why. And so they come to me and they're really hot messes at this point because sometimes they're in a lot of anxiety, they're in self-criticism and self-judgment, because to themselves and to the people around them, it seems absolutely insane that they would want to rent a van and go to a specific remote location just to sit there and meditate. And so a lot of times this type of light worker will have a lot of pressure internally, but also a lot of pressure from the outside, because they're doing something that the outside world is considering being stupid or just nothing. What are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. And so that could cause a lot of anxiety. But look at what happens if you know you're a grid worker or a gatekeeper. If you know that you are a gatekeeper or a grid worker, then you can understand and you can allow yourself to follow that intuition to go to specific locations, because now you know you need to. It's actually a part of your mission. So you won't fight it anymore. You won't fight the intuitive nudges that you have, okay? And this is just one example. I could give examples of different types of light workers, but the more you're able to kind of locate yourself in present moment, where are you right now? What type of light worker do you feel you're in right now? That's going to help you come into a lot more acceptance of yourself, and also a place of more confidence, and a place where your mind starts to quiet down and you start to feel the intuitive nudges, because your specific type of light working mission, it'll start pulling intuition from you. And the more you follow that intuition, the more easily you'll be able to fulfill your mission as a light worker. So what type of light worker resonated with you the most? Maybe to help you with this, you should take out a journal and start writing down some things about this video, the types maybe write down the 7 different types, which ones resonated with you the most, which ones did you feel more pulled towards. Journal about that so you can start really coming into the specific type of light worker you're in right now in your life, okay? And then to go deeper, if you want to go deeper into what a light worker is, into more details on on what light workers are here to do, how they complete their missions. If you want to go deeper into more of this topic of light worker, I shot 2 whole videos on light workers, and I'm going to leave links to those videos in the description box below so you can watch after watching this one. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below, which type of light worker are you? I want to hear all about it in the comments. Click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel, or head over to my website where you can register for my upcoming YouTube live event. It's going to be amazing, and I hope to see you there. And don't forget these 2 videos on lightworkers. That'll be great for you to continue viewing. All right, beautiful soul, that's it for me. I love you. I'm out.